So gold traders, last week was an amazing one. We got this buy right over here. All right, but last week I told you before in our last analysis that we're looking for price to get down into the zone right here, right? What price just did was the price just began to move up right from there. So we just left price to do its thing, okay? And so towards the end of the week, which was on Friday, we saw an opportunity here for a buy, which we're going to go to that later. So let's delete this. Let's delete this and let's delete this also as well. Okay, and let's delete this. So we got a buy from here. If you go to the 1 hour, you see why I got in. Actually, I was in on some buys here too as well from down here, then got in another buy right here, and then we rolled it up to this point and came out at this very tip there when I saw what price was forming, because I already knew the price would most likely come back down here, hoping that the day will close very bullish, right? And thinking that by the start of the next week we might see a rejection downwards. That's why I came out of the trade right here. But funny enough, before the day closed, price already dropped, and so not surprised, but already came out, took our profits, and then left the charts. All right, so let's do a top-down analysis now, starting from the monthly time frame to see what we can expect in the next week. All right, so let's go to the monthly charts, monthly time frame. Looking at the monthly, like we already know, gold is very much bullish, right? As you can see, and we already know that the month is about to close, right? The month of September. We just have a few more days. Once the new week starts, right, we have just Monday and Tuesday, and then when Tuesday the month will end, and then Wednesday will be the beginning of a new month, right? So we might see a little bit of a sideways movement, right, until the NFP, because that's going to be NFP week. All right, so we have to be very careful. We have to just observe the chart. We might see slow movement. We might not really see so much movement until probably Friday. But like I said, anything can happen. We don't decide what happens on the charts. We only analyze the charts and come up with different probabilities of what we think could actually happen. So let's go to the weekly. Let's see what things are looking like there. Now, looking at the weekly, this level right here is still a major level for us, which is a 3498 level, right? Let me just say that out. This particular level here, right here, is a major level, as you can see. So I'm still really looking forward to price coming down into that level and then rejecting upwards. But that might not happen this week, all right? That might happen maybe next month, as we get into next month, sometime next month, but that might not happen this week. We never know, right? So what do we expect for now in this new week, right? We're going to be looking for price to come down to at least the 50% level. Seeing that gold is still very much bullish, we're going to stick to looking for buying opportunities rather than selling opportunities, because you might see selling opportunities present itself to you, but you have to be very careful, because if you see those selling opportunities, they could be, a fake setup, right? And then you end up losing money. So focus on the overall direction right now. You know that gold is very bullish, right? So you focus on looking for buys than looking for sells, so you don't have unnecessary losses. Okay, so the 50% level we're going to mark out is going to be right here, somewhere around there, which is 3738 level, right? Somewhere around that point. So let's delete the Fibonacci. So we're going to look for price to come down into that zone. Let's delete this. Yeah. So we're going to wait for price to come down into that zone. Now, also, it's very possible for us to see price come down into this level as well. Okay, as you can see, that's a key. That's a level that we should also, look at. So price could actually drop into that zone too as well and then push up, or price could just stay at this level and then push up from there. All right, so let's go to the daily. Let's see what things are looking like. Like I said already, we might see a bit of a sideways movement, right? We might not see so much action, but we could also see the opportunity presenting itself to us. And if we see any opportunity for bullishness like buys, we're going to take the buys and we're going to go in on the buys. But if I go in on any buy, I might not hold it. Like the trade I took of Friday, I would have loved to hold it, but I know I couldn't hold it, because looking at the way price was forming, I could tell that price would most likely drop. So I just had to come out of the trade, because normally, if you know, I love to hold my trades, and I love to hold my trades for my trades to really rally up and then push up and create new all-time highs. But where price is at currently, price is currently at the very top, right? And so if we actually see price come down to a significant level, which is this level we talked about on the monthly and on the weekly. If we can see price come down to, let me draw this. If I can see price come down, create a new, serious major low, and then gives us the opportunity to go up like this, then I can take it. And if I get this move, then I can hold it again like the other ones that we're holding at the very bottom, right? So let's just see what happens. So looking at the daily, we can see that gold tried to push up, okay? And gold, this is the current all-time high right here. Gold pushed up and tried to get close to that point, but unfortunately it didn't quite break it. And so what did it do? It rejected back downwards. Okay, so what can we see would happen in this new week that we're stepping into? Like I said, we're going to be looking for price to come down into this particular zone right here, and probably from there we could see opportunities for buys as well. Okay, but like I also said, we could also see gold drop even lower. Now, in all of this, like I said, we might see opportunities for sales, but I'm not quite going to focus on taking sales because that could just be unnecessary losses, and I don't want that. So I'll just be waiting patiently for buying opportunities. So if I get buys from this top right here, that's not bad. But if it breaks lower and comes lower into the zone, then we're going to be looking for buys from this point, right? So these are the two levels I think we should be keeping our eyes on to see what happens. Okay, so well, price. Let's just see. Can't say more than that. Let's go to the 4 hour. Let's see what happens. I think it's that simple. All right. Now, as you can see, I told you it took a bite from here, and if you see, there's a heads and shoulders pattern right over there, right? Or rather, let's call it an inverse heads and shoulders pattern, right? You guys understand what I'm saying? So, if we see price drop into this level, and we see the opportunities for buys right here, we're going to take the opportunities from this point, right? But if we see price break even lower into the zone, then we're going to get in for buys if we see the opportunity. Now, whenever I say we wait for price to get into this zone to give us an opportunity, we're not saying that the moment price gets into this level, we're just going to buy blindly. No, we don't do that. We don't do that. Okay. We wait for price to get into that zone, those zones, and once price gets into those zones, we wait for certain confirmations. We wait for certain things to form, right? The moment we start seeing the necessary formations that we need, that gives us the confirmation for a buy, then we're going to get in for a buy. So we don't just get in blindly. All right, but we mark out our key zones, wait for price to get into those zones and those levels, and then once price gives us what we're looking out for, we get in for the trade. All right, so that's what we're seeing on the 4 hour. As you can see, price is looking like it's going to drop. It's going to come down low. At least we're going to see price get into this zone. So once price gets into this zone, most likely we're going to wait and see how price forms, and if it gives us the signal to get in, then we're going to get in for another buys, unless it wants to drop lower. Now, if price drops lower to this point, we see an opportunity here, right? We get in, but if we don't see an opportunity, then that means price will most likely drop even lower, right? Price will most likely drop even lower. Wherever price drops to, we're going to keep watching and we're going to wait. Now, if these levels don't hold, then we know that the next level for gold to get to will be somewhere around here. All right, will be somewhere around this level. Okay, so it'll be somewhere around that level. And if this gets broken, then we know we're coming back down to this major level that we talked about earlier, which is what I really like. Now, in all of this, if price gives us the opportunity for a sell, we could see that opportunity forming. We could see it. Once we see it, we could try to take the sells. But like I said, I'm going to be very careful, because you don't just want to take unnecessary losses. I don't see the point doing that, right? So I'll just rather wait and focus majorly on the buys. So these are the levels I'm going to be marking out. I've marked out. I'm going to be looking at these two major levels, right? And see how price forms. If these levels don't hold, then we know that gold is going to come lower down to this zone. And that's not a bad one. So we just watch and we wait. All right, no need for the 1 hour. Is there need? Let's just check it. Let's see what the 1 hour looks like. Okay, the same thing. No need for that. No need. So we see the heads and shoulders pattern right here. So let's just wait and let's see what happens. All right, we just wait for price to come to our levels, and then we wait for the necessary formations and we get in. So that's it, guys. I do hope you have an amazing trading week. So peace out, guys. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video, guys.